lithium and nickel and magnesium and cobalt, and all that stuff has to be mined and extracted from the earth somewhere. So it's more expensive to make an electric car than it is a gas-powered car.
The community blood supply should mirror community diversity, but less than 1 out of 5 blood donations currently come from communities of color.
We're seeing that number that communities are getting who have opted in to allowing recreational marijuana sales. That is increasing. The question is really, at this point, have we reached the peak?
You just heard from some of the many different people who we talk to every day here on the Metro: advocates, analysts, scientists, and people from your community. Welcome back to the show. I'm Robin Vincent. The Trump administration eliminated a division of the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention that focused on blood disorders such as sickle cell. That was recently reported by Outlier Media. And it's big news for people here. That's because Metro Detroit is home to one of the largest groups of people with sickle cell disease in the country. The painful disease is caused by an inherited genetic mutation, and most of the people who have it are Black folks. Last year, Tia Graham and former WDET reporter Laura Herberg spoke with 2 people to learn more. Koby Levin is a science reporter for Outlier Media, and Larenz Caldwell is a sickle cell patient who underwent a stem cell transplant 6 years ago. Here was their conversation.
Koby, you have been working on writing a whole series on sickle cell disease. Why?
It's such a good question. The short answer is that I met some folks in this community. I was out on assignment, and I just felt this like a real connection here. We write about science where it matters to Detroiters. And what we realized, almost as soon as we started covering sickle cell disease, is that this is a place where the cutting edge of science, new technologies that we could not have imagined even a generation ago, and medical inequity, and a really long-running, important, vibrant Detroit community kind of come together. And so there just is such a tremendous amount of uncertainty, hope, strength, struggle in this really kind of compact area. It's about, we've estimated about 2,000 people here in the Detroit area who are living with sickle cell disease. And just it's such a juicy topic, such a hopeful topic, such a frustrating topic. And I was drawn right in and just amazed by the generosity and the bravery of a lot of folks in this community who were eager to tell their stories.
And Larenz, it's not an easy disease to live with. Can you talk about what it was like for you growing up with sickle cell?
Yes, I can. I was a little luckier growing up with sickle cell. I had someone in my life that had it as a kid and was living with it as an adult. And most sicklers in this city don't have that. They're born into families. They're like, oh, our mistake, or don't know what to do and kind of thrown to the wolves. So I thought I was normal. I was as normal as my mom. So,
and your mom had sickle cell, right?
Yes. Sorry.
So she knew the ropes.
For context, yes. So me taking medicine or not feeling good when the weather changed or being smaller than everyone, it was not, I didn't see anything wrong with it as much as other people did. Looking back, I could see there was a lot that was going on, but in the moment, it wasn't horrible to me.
Okay, because it was what you knew. It's what your mom was experiencing. It was your life. Koby, can you break down a little bit for folks who aren't familiar? What is sickle cell disease? What's going on there?
So sickle cell is a really simple disease in its cause with very complex effects. Okay, at a basic level, you have a different kind, a sort of mutated red blood cell that's going to be more fragile than a healthy red blood cell. It's going to break down more quickly, which leads to a lot of anemia. That's why sickle cell was often called sickle cell anemia. It also is going to be a little bit stickier, right? So a common thing that these folks experience is called a sickle cell crisis. That's where their red blood cells actually jam up in their blood vessels, right? And your body freaks out when that happens, okay? Because your organs, in many cases, are not getting the oxygen that they need. And the sensation of having your veins literally blocked up is excruciatingly painful. Pain is a hallmark of sickle cell disease. And folks with, folks who live with sickle cell often wind up hospitalized and receiving something like blood transfusions, heavy intravenous painkillers to address these kind of emergency symptoms that come with a crisis. It can be tremendously dangerous, obviously very scary, and it means that these are some of the folks who are most exposed to the medical system of really anybody in our metro area.
And if you're just joining us, we're speaking to Koby Levin. He's a science reporter at Outlier Media. We're also speaking with Larenz Caldwell, who was born with sickle cell disease and later had a stem cell transplant. Larenz, on June 26, 2017, you walked into a doctor's office at Vanderbilt University Medical Center. Tell me about that particular visit.
That was a visit, it did change my life. But in that moment, I didn't want to go to that doctor's appointment. I hadn't even scheduled it at that time in my life. I was scheduling my own doctor's appointments. I started doing that like at 13, but I didn't schedule that appointment. My mom scheduled it for us, and I didn't really want to go at all. And when I went, the doctor was foolish. He was so just cavalier and nonchalant, which is, I like that, but just not in my, not in my room right now. Like,
not at this moment.
Yeah.
What was foolish about the doctor? What did he say to you?
He like just waltzed in, just like, boom, I'm here, cool, hand me the chart. He asked me like how many blood transfusions I had, looked at me up and down and was like, all right, I'm gonna cure you, and then just left. Just like walked out.
And what were you thinking?
He was crazy.
Could you imagine someone's like, oh, I got a cure for you?
Like crazy. I thought he was nuts. I said, sure, I'll challenge you. I'll play this game. Yeah, it was the shortest doctor's appointment of my life ever in a hematology clinic.
And the thing is he ended up being right.
He did. And he rubbed it in every single day while I was in that hospital. Yep, I was right. Told you. Didn't I say it? Mm-hmm. You're doing great. Yep. Mm-hmm. I knew this would happen. Yep.
So let's break it down for the listeners then. What happened next? What treatment did you undergo?
I'm still trying to grasp it, but I had a haplo bone marrow transplant from my father. That's what I had. I still don't really understand it at all.
And just really quickly jumping in, since then, since you've been cured, what has it the night and day, like the before and after? What is the before and after?
I didn't know that you could feel so still, like in your body. Like, I don't feel like I'm jumping out of my skin all the time, or I can't sit still because something's hurting, but for a minute that was scary. Like, this is it. Like, this is boring.
Stop. I was gonna say,
this is boring.
I can get bored. Like,
not having the disease.
I did so much. Because I did not want to sit down.
Like, this is what
and
y'all
now
doing?
I'm like,
this is what y'all doing?
this is This is what you call relax. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Well, I want to talk a little bit more about your life symptom-free, but first, let's back up just a little bit. Koby, can you talk about some of the recent treatments, including what Larenz went through, how treatments for sickle cell have evolved in recent years?
Sure. So Larenz was participating in a clinical trial that actually just wrapped up. The results of the clinical trial were really positive. And doctors who were unaffiliated with the trial but who kind of read the results said things like, this is encouraging and that this is going to expand access to this kind of curative treatment. Because for a long time, you needed a really specific kind of bone marrow donor. Okay, yes. You needed a person with a recipe for blood, if you will, that was exactly the same as yours, just a little different. Okay, and often that was a sibling, but not that many people had a sibling who was a perfect match for them. What they did in Larenz's case is actually expand that pool and say, okay, your dad's not as good of a match, but he's close enough. But we've gotten good enough at this procedure that we're going to allow him to be the donor anyway, and it did work. So the genetic recipe, right, that Larenz's body uses to create blood right now, as we're speaking, because the body's constantly creating new red blood cells, is his dad's, right?
Wow.
And that means that the red blood cells moving through your veins right now are healthy. They're not sickle shaped, yeah, let's say it's a world of difference.
I just hope I don't turn into a clone of him.
That's so funny. Okay, but we actually should address that because this is something that people talk about a lot.
Oh, really?
No, really, I'm a different person.
Yeah. Oh, really?
I'm an entire different person. I took Ancestry after. Oh, no, I'm my dad. I am my dad.
All right, I don't want to fact check this too hard, but let me just say, we're talking about changing the genetic makeup of your blood stem cells.
Yeah, it
specific cells that make your blood.
And my genes. I have a different blood type.
Those are your genes?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. You have a different blood type. But, for instance, your reproductive cells, right, that would actually pass on this genetic material to your kids, those aren't changed, right? The only thing that's changed...
I have no idea.
I do.
That's why we have a science reporter here with us.
No idea.
This is so
funny. They were
like,
go freeze your stuff or don't. We don't know what's going to happen.
Uh-huh.
And that was expensive for a 19-year-old.
I bet. People do fertility preservation for these kinds of treatments because you undergo chemo, which Larenz had to do chemo as part of the transplant, and that can destroy your fertility. But in terms of whether your genetic makeup outside of your blood was changed, it was not. You're still almost 100% Larenz.
I have a bone to pick with Ancestry.
All I'm thinking to myself right now is how, number one, we're having this amazing conversation right now about something that's really, really great that's happened, and Larenz is just like, yeah, I don't know about any of this. I don't.
Exactly. Well,
it's something.
Larenz, so we only have about 30 seconds, unfortunately, but I want to give you the last word. What are you looking forward to now that you have to spend so little time thinking about how sickle cell is impacting your body?
I'm looking forward to a future finally, so that's fun. But I don't know what it's going to look like, which is terrifying. But I guess I'm excited.
That was Tia Graham and former WDET reporter Laura Herberg speaking with Larenz Caldwell, who's a sickle cell patient. And they were also chatting with Koby Levin, a reporter at Outlier Media in Detroit. From the WDET newsroom, Michigan Senator Gary Peters is warning the U.S. could lose a competitive advantage to other nations if the White House ends federal research funding. Peters toured the Institute for Quantitative Health Science and Engineering at Michigan State University on Friday. During the tour, he saw locusts that could detect the smell of cancer in cells and mice that researchers hope will provide insight into how memories are formed. Peters says it would take years to rebuild if funding lapses, even temporarily. The Coalition for Property Tax Justice rallied in front of the Detroit Public Library calling for a moratorium on tax foreclosures for homes valued under $50,000. The group claims the city systematically overassesses those homes, leading to what it says are illegal tax foreclosures. A recent study shows average assessments are correct, but the coalition says overassessments are still a problem. It says the Wayne County Treasurer should not foreclose on a home until it shows the property was not overassessed. The Michigan Department of Health and Human Services is advising people to avoid foam on lakes and rivers this summer. Foam can form on any body of water and can appear white, off-white, or brown, and can sometimes contain harmful bacteria. Officials say the foam may have an earthy or fishy smell and can pile up along shores. If you get the foam on your skin, wash it off immediately. The health department also advises residents to keep their pets from playing in or consuming the foam. In sports, the Tigers beat the Blue Jays 3-2 in Toronto. Spencer Torkelson drove in all 3 runs for Detroit. The Tigers open against the Cardinals in St. Louis tonight. And Detroit City Football Club and Birmingham Legion played to a 1-1 draw. Alex Villanueva scored for Le Rouge. That team is winless in their last 4 matches across all competitions. Scottie Scheffler won the PGA Championship golf tournament, finishing 11 under par, 5 strokes ahead of Harris English, Bryson DeChambeau, and Davis Riley. Coming up, the NFL schedule was released last week. We'll talk about what it means for, yes, the Detroit Lions next. We'll be right back here on the Metro. Stay with us.